if you want to support the show, any of the shows, either this or whichever show, I'm not on right now because this is just a blanket ad for all of them, and the website, you can go to bewareofspoilers.com. In the description for any of the episodes of Beware of Spoilers, there is the option to donate. If you don't want to donate that way, you can donate directly through the website. We do have that, mwpnews.com. And if you don't want to support that way, then going to mwpnews.com will help out because we have ads there. We don't want to keep it, where there's a lot of ads. There's a few ads. But the point is we want to make it so that way, we can sustain this for the long term. If people donate, we're never going to paywall anything, I don't think, as of right now. But if people, start donating, we'll start doing cooler and cooler stuff. Like donations are how we get to cover stuff like Tribeca and other, film festivals. And, we may be able to bring on more people to help out. So if you want to help out the show and you want more content from us, by all means, even just going and giving us a 5-star rating on Spotify helps out a lot. But that's it. That's the only ad we'll have on the podcast ever. But here's whatever podcast you're going to be listening to. Good morning, and welcome to 30-Minute Reviews. I am Adam. 2 consecutive episodes. This never happens. But something big came out. And it's going to continue our conversation from the other day. Because the trailer doesn't show a ton. I'm talking about the trailer for Captain America, Brave New World, which dropped this morning. The earlier speculation in the week was that it was going to drop Thursday and ended up dropping on Friday. And let's just say that this drop makes sense. Disney has their next Marvel movie coming out in 2 weeks. They like to promote next thing from studio with current thing from studio, with the exception of like animation. Just in general, they like to do that. Like if they have a 20th century movie coming out and they have a 20th century movie that is out currently, they're gonna put the trailer before it. That's just how Disney has historically worked. So this move makes sense. You want this trailer out before, Captain America. I'm surprised they didn't wait, because isn't the MLB All-Star Game on ESPN? I'm surprised they didn't. Look, the MLB All-Star Game doesn't pull a ton of viewers. I would not be surprised if there's a trailer for it, but also, I think that's close enough to Deadpool and Wolverine that you do an all-out ad blitz for Deadpool and Wolverine during that event. But yeah, regardless, the point I'm trying to make is we have this Captain America Brave New World trailer now. And I think that, look, let's just address what it is to begin with. Number one, they clearly are, and I've said this recently before, and it didn't exactly pan out. It seems they're going for the Winter Soldier vibe, the political espionage thriller, and okay, that's fine. I was burned by that last time because I said that about Secret Invasion as well, and that didn't exactly pan out. So it is what it is. Hopefully this pans out a little bit better than that. But I do have faith in the director, whose name I'm forgetting, who directed Loose. I really like that movie, Loose. But here's the thing about this: when you watch this, when you watch this trailer. The Red Hulk reveal in the trailer. This is like look, we're dealing with an identity issue. We're dealing with, Sam coming to terms with who he is. And the thing that struck me about this is this feels like a movie that should have come out in 2022, not now, not announced until 2021. This should have been a early planned movie, not one that didn't come out until now. You're dealing with the legacy of him trying to come to terms with who he is as Captain America, while be different from Steve Rogers, and that's the thing from the trailer that that I really like. That moment where he says to him, Sam, you are not Steve Rogers. And Sam's like, no, I'm not. That feels like a third act. Like, that's going to be the thing throughout the movie, where it's like, he's going to come to terms with the fact that he is not Steve Rogers as Captain America. Where it's like, he came to terms with what it meant to be a black man, take on the mantle of Captain America. That's what Falcon and the Winter Soldier was about. This is going to be him coming to terms with what it means to be his own version of Captain America, which is interesting for a movie, because comics have had legacy characters before. We have not seen a legacy character in this way in a movie, I don't think. I can't think of another one where it's like you have a character who is taking over the mantle from a well-established person, and then what does that mean for them as they, as they take over this role? So it's a interesting place to put your characters, and that's something that I'm kind of interested in, to see how that kind of plays as they explore that in this movie. I think too, it's like number one, I hope that Giancarlo Esposito is not playing a one-off villain, because he looks really cool here in the brief shots we get of him, and the Red Hulk shot at the end. Like, the Red Hulk shot at the end is clearly the thing where it's like, this was added in late because the effect doesn't look 100% finished for Red Hulk, but this is something that was added in because I think that the tracking for Deadpool and Wolverine is so strong that when they run this before Deadpool and Wolverine, that reveal of Red Hulk at the end is gonna do big numbers for them, and it's going to get a lot of people interested in this movie in a way that the rest of the trailer may not have. Because it's like, I don't know if audiences are going to respond as well. I mean, look, we get espionage movies all the time. The question is going to be is how well is the action shot? That's going to be the real question. How good does the movie look? As long as the political espionage part is handled somewhat well, how good does the movie look is going to be the overriding major question here. And I don't think this trailer does a lot to really show that. This is kind of it's a teaser. It's not really a trailer. It's a teaser designed to show off, like, this is very simply a first look at this movie. Here is some of the characters. Like, I think we see Sabra briefly. I don't know the actress's name, but I'm pretty certain that she's in the trailer. Like, we get some view of, like, the Serpent Society, which is the return of Hydra. Like, there's a lot of things here that do work. And I'm interested to see how that plays in this movie. What else have we got? I did want to address, we touched on this briefly the other night when the Agatha trailer came out, this idea that, like, Marvel has already announced a big Hall H showing. And look, we've already had one this year of a major company that has made some mistakes in the recent past that is needed to reassure the consumers and the fans of that franchise that they're going to, fix the complaints. And that would be, we talked about it on the backlog files, the Pokemon Company. They did it with their Pokemon Presents a few months back, where it was designed to be not an entire mea culpa, but it's kind of like we're not going to say we heard all of your complaints, but here's our new plan going forward, and just note that it addresses all your complaints. We don't have a new Pokemon game coming out this year. It's not coming until next year. They're putting a lot of time into it. It's a Legends game. It's set in Kalos. Like, there's a lot of things that they're working on, and it's like, we're not rushing it. This is something that I think is a good sign going forward, like, for them. Which is what I think Marvel's Hall H is going to be. But the issue is, if they showed off this trailer here, and they showed off, and they showed off Agatha already, is this just them revising the slate again? Is this just them going, okay, so we are going to, look at, we're just going to go and here's our new release slate, we're committing to it,
and we are not going to stray from this. We have plans. We're going to scale back our TV production. The TV stuff is going to be separately branded, so it's not entirely in the same, it's not, you don't have to watch everything on TV to understand everything in the movies. Yes, there will be some tie-ins, but the branding will illustrate that, yes, while these things are tangentially related, you don't have to watch it all to understand. You just get more context if you watch the TV, which, full disclosure, has been the case for a long time. Because, again, using, as the example, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was not one-way canon with the MCU, it was two-way canon. Where it's the way the Avengers find Strucker going into Age of Ultron is laid out in, and where the helicarrier came from in Age of Ultron comes from, comes from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and it's referenced briefly. I mean, look, it's in passing, and it's in a way that it's he's, it's meant where you can, where you don't know, but this idea that, when Fury goes, we cleared out a few mothballs with the help of a few friends, it turns out that the few friends that were helping with the helicarrier was Coulson and the team from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Now, did anything else from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. ever come over? No. But there was that brief moment where it was this is just additional context. If you watch this, Monster of the Week procedural on ABC, you will get more context for your big, for the big movies, and it will react to the big movies, which is something that was kind of cool. Where you got tie-in episodes that were kind of related. The issue is, they made it clear in 2019 that you needed to watch everything. They made it clear that, look, this is Phase 4 of the MCU. These shows are equally as canon as everything else. And part of the issue was, okay, you can do that as long as you're keeping the output the same, and you're not overloading people with new content. The issue was, you're doing 4 new shows a year, because what was it in 2022 where you had, Moon Knight, you had, wasn't She-Hulk in 2022, you had Miss Marvel in 2022, there's a lot, and not all of it paid off. So you're sending the message that, you have to watch all this stuff, but it's never going to pay off. So do it, just don't expect it to pay off immediately, if at all. Because here we are years later, and it still hasn't. So I think this is going to be one of their big, and the thing is, too, why San Diego? Why do this at San Diego when you can do it at D23, and D23 is in September, so it's 2 months later. Here's what I think it is. I think Marvel is going to be riding high that weekend, regardless of what happens, because they have, and I think the thing is, too, the Deadpool and Wolverine early tracking is setting it to set the record for an R-rated opening weekend and July opening weekend of all time. I think the early tracking is 165 or 185 million. Either way, this movie's going to shatter records. And records previously set by Deadpool 2. Or Deadpool. Yeah, Deadpool, not Deadpool 2. So the issue is, what does this mean for Marvel? That means that they can go in and they can bury bad news in that weekend. Because, yeah, that happened, but Deadpool 3 is going to be such a hit, they think, that they can go out on stage at Hall H and be like, here's what we're delaying, here's what we're changing, here are the things that you thought you were going to like that you're not going to get anymore. And that's a great time to do that then. This is almost laid out where they can kind of just take the hit. And then also, it's you put these trailers out. All you gotta do is show a little more footage from Captain America, or any footage from Fantastic Four, or any footage from Thunderbolts, both of which are in production. And you can still have people walking away from it okay, I'm confident in the direction they're taking. And that's all you gotta do. Maybe introduce whatever director you've brought on from Blade, bring out Mahershala Ali and be yes, I'm still on board to play Blade, ease those fears, And then this is where you can introduce a new casting for Kang the Conqueror, or if you're going to move away from Kang the Conqueror entirely, which is a possibility, you announce what that new direction is going to be for Avengers 5. Or, and this is also a possibility, you delay it and you do Young Avengers in the interim. You keep that date, you do Young Avengers, and then you do, Avengers 5 in 2020, what year would that be? 2027, and then you do Secret Wars in 2028. And the added benefit to that is you get that extra, you get to have Secret Wars be the 20th anniversary of the MCU. And then you also have to talk about things that have been long in development that we haven't heard about in a long time. What's going on with Ironheart? What's going on with Daredevil? And these are things that have had, like, Ironheart hasn't had behind-the-scenes issues as far as I know, but Daredevil has. They had to start from scratch with the writer's room, and they had to, completely start over, basically. So, what, the issue that I have is, like, are we going to sit here and are we going to hear about these? I think there's a possibility that they're just like, we're going to address all these issues, and we're just going to bury it in a weekend. And then what you're going to do is, if you want to put the good news out, you put it all out at D23. That's what I think it is. I think you want D23 at a situation where you are where you have the weekend. You have the weekend. Like, and the thing is, too, it's like this weekend of San Diego Comic-Con, that's the opening weekend for Deadpool and Wolverine, I can guarantee Gunn is going to be bringing something from Superman like, and possibly bringing a director for. I don't think they've officially signed Craig Gillespie, but I think that I feel like they might be officially announcing who the director is if it's not Craig Gillespie for Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, like. And you can date your future movies if you're DC. So if that's the case, Marvel's going to want to use this weekend to bury bad news while basking in their victory lap. Ideally, they would have had this as a victory lap weekend, but I think it's better to use it as just say, let's just bury all the bad news in here where we have this great news about Deadpool and Wolverine, because Deadpool and Wolverine has been used to bury bad news before. I think there was release date delays that came about as a result of Deadpool and Wolverine being, when they announced that release date, they moved other release dates too and delayed stuff. It's just they used Deadpool and Wolverine as the and look at what we're doing. And then also, if they're canceling any of the shows they've already been working on, which, like, I don't think Wonder Man gets canceled, but I think there's a chance that, like, Vision Quest doesn't come out. There's a chance that, like, I don't think Ironheart, because I think that they're committed to Armor Wars, and I think you need Ironheart for Armor Wars. I don't know. It's an interesting situation for them to be in, and I think that they have the possibility to do something different here. And this could be a unique Hall H experience if a studio's coming out at Hall H and being like, they're never gonna come out and say we fucked up, but they're gonna be like, we hear the fans, we're gonna address some of the fans' concerns, and here's how we're going to address those concerns. That would be interesting to me if they came out and did something like that. But we'll see. We'll see how that goes. At the end of the month at San Diego Comic-Con. But I do think this does create a very interesting scenario around Comic-Con for Marvel. And I think this does show their hand. I don't think you want to put out the Captain America trailer during it, or the Agatha trailer during it, when you're talking about internal strife and the negative. You want this to have its own time. You want this to happen before, and then while Deadpool and Wolverine's coming out, that's when you dump out all the bad news and you just call it a day. But we'll wrap up there for today. The next episode will be Monday morning. We'll be talking about Twister, which I'll be watching for the first time this weekend, and we'll be talking about WandaVision next week. But until our next episode, have a great rest of your week.